Today we're going to talk about how you actually start a digital marketing agency in 2024 and a little bit about what's entailed, what the benefits are, and what you can achieve. So firstly, who are we and why listen to us? Firstly, we do not, preach to be gurus. We're not. We are two normal guys that come from South London who started an agency just over 5 years ago in 2019. Luke comes from a banking background, had some experience running like some side hustles and businesses in the past. I come from a sales background. I used to sell wine. I was in recruitment. And over 5 years, we started from ground zero, an idea in our bedroom, to running a profitable 6-figure marketing agency. I think a couple of benefits as to why it would be good to listen to how we've had our journey is it's been very authentic. We've made a lot of mistakes along the way as well. And if we could go back in time, we could probably have built the agency in like half the speed as to what it's taken us now, because we've made a few mistakes along the way. But that's a little bit about us and why you should listen to us when it comes to building a digital marketing agency.
Yeah, and also just like we didn't have any experience really with marketing or digital marketing at all. Like generally, I was just looking at side hustles, tried a few out, and this one, I was on holiday, right? I got burnt on holiday, and I couldn't go in the sun for 7 days, so I literally just watched YouTube for 7 days on how to build an agency, and then I called Sam like, "Look, do you want to do this?" And he said, "Yeah," and we literally just did it alongside our full-time jobs for like the first year and a bit, and obviously I had COVID during that time as well. But we have no experience doing it. It's all effectively self-taught from courses and mentorships.
Yeah, I think that's a really useful point to talk about actually, because a lot of people assume like you have to be some tech guru or need to have some sort of marketing degree. I can tell you now what they teach in university. We've hired people who have had marketing degrees, and they do not teach what is relevant in marketing to run an actual digital marketing agency. Everything that you need to know, throughout the most part, you can actually learn on YouTube as well, and just from kind of winging it and finding your way.
So just to touch on what is digital marketing agency, effectively, there's loads of different types of agencies you can run. So ours is a lead generation agency where we run Facebook, Instagram, and Google adverts and TikTok adverts to get clients for businesses. That's effectively what it is. But other agencies out there, you've got social media management agencies. So that's where you might just post on Instagram for a client. It could be anyone. So like our first client was a roofing client, and all we used to do for him was post on Facebook every 3 days. He used to send us the photos, and we used to write the captions and post it up and reply to his DMs. Google adverts. Some people have content agencies where they'll go out and video, do photos, etc. That one is better if you do have experience with graphic design agencies where you're literally just doing graphic design. I've seen people using tools such as Canva and having their own agencies these days. There's so many tools out there you can do. Videography, same as content really, SEO agencies, websites, copyright agencies, email marketing. So there's loads of different types. Today, we're mainly going to talk about Facebook and Instagram adverts, as we've kind of been involved in all of this, and Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram, I think, is the easiest one to get involved in from the start.
Yeah, I think as well, just touching on like different types of agencies, right? So you have some agencies that they'll try and specialize in absolutely everything. It's like that cliche saying, a jack of all trades, master of none. We used to, when we first started, offer everything and anything to a client and just try and learn it, right? So we're doing like ads management, social media management, Google ads, graphic design, SEO, websites, but we weren't really that good when we first started, meaning the client wasn't getting the best end product. So we decided about a year into our journey, and I wish we'd done it sooner, to just focus on lead generation for Facebook and Instagram. And then when we mastered that, it then, filtered into Google ads, sales, and loads of other things too. So I think probably the best place to start is lead generation on Facebook and Instagram. The reason why as well, if you can make clients money as a marketing company, they usually don't leave you, right? With lead generation, you can make a prospect, if they're in the right niche, a few £1,000s for one sale. When you're doing like social media management or graphic design, there's no real trackable metrics for your clients to see, okay, is this making me money? Is it just an overhead? Whereas with lead generation, especially if you've got the right tracking software, which we'll talk about on this call, you can literally say to a client, you spent £1,000 a month on ads, you've made 10 grand worth of sales. Why would they leave? They probably wouldn't. If it makes money, it makes sense, right? So that's what I think about if you were considering certain types of agencies.
Yeah, and we effectively you get hit with adverts every day. I'm sure all of you here are on Instagram and Facebook, and TikTok. Every 3 or 4 posts you get is an advert. So effectively all it is that you're running those adverts for local businesses, or sometimes UK worldwide businesses, but local businesses to start off for sure. So you're just helping them get leads for their business, and those help them turn those leads into paying customers. And if those customers pay, then they're going to stay with you for longer.
Just to add as well, lead generation is probably the easiest campaign objective to learn when you're learning how to run adverts. It's quite simple compared to e-commerce marketing. You don't have to build out crazy funnels to start with. You can literally just run a lead generation ad and generate leads for a client, which is pretty cool and easy to learn. Okay, so let's talk about the benefits of running an agency. Okay, so I can honestly say, just from experience, running an agency has completely changed my life. It's allowed me to travel to places I've never been able to afford before, have time off, more than just your 20 days annual leave that you're given in a job. You can work from anywhere as well, as long as you've got Wi-Fi connection and a laptop. You can literally work from anywhere, although I wouldn't necessarily advise it, because I tried working from Bali in December and I got like 0 work done, right? Wi-Fi can be shit in Southeast Asia. The time difference is a pain in the ass. It's not always how the gurus make it out to be. But yeah, a benefit is you can build an agency around your ambitions and the lifestyle you desire. You can have, there's like 3 different types of agencies really. You can have in-house, where you have an office, physical location, staff. Benefits of that is everybody's in one place, so it's easier to manage, and you can usually get more out of your staff that way. The cons are it's expensive. UK staff are expensive. Office rent is expensive, and you don't actually in 2024 even need to have an office. The majority of agencies in 2024 are fully remote, so no physical location. You can still scale a 6-figure a month agency or get to 10K per month from a laptop, from your bedroom. And also you can hire remote staff as well, all around the world. So we've got 10 staff in South Africa, 2 in the Philippines, 1 in the USA. Have we got any other countries? That's mostly it.
And just the UK.
And just the UK as well, of course, where our main guys are. As mentioned before, you can work from anywhere in the world. You can work with anyone in the world as well. So for example, the USA markets for lead generation agencies, crazy. You can charge 2x, 3x, 4x the premium in the United States as to what you can in the UK for certain niches. The agency model is recession proof. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not affected by a recession, but it's a service-based business. So what you'll find during a recession is, businesses struggle to get clients. If you can say to a client, you can help them grow and get clients through this difficult time, then they're going to usually take what you have to say seriously. You build a team using talent from all over the world, like I previously mentioned as well. Hotspots for staff in the agency space, the Philippines, you can get staff members on $20 a day, which sounds like a bump, but trust me, they're living a good life because it's so cheap in the Philippines to actually live. South Africa is a great place to find staff as well. Cost of living is less, so obviously you pay them less, and that's super grateful and hardworking. Another benefit of running an agency is you don't really need any previous experience. You don't really need any qualifications either. Right. I'll be the first to say I didn't do great in school. I think I got like 3 GCSEs. I was a little shit. I was more interested in being a class clown than doing well. And I feel like when you're going through school, you feel as if you need all of these qualifications. You have to go to university to get a good job. It's not the case. And I know Jack, the founder of MentorME, can definitely vouch for that as well. So yeah, no experience needed, no qualifications needed. it's not even that hard to learn how to run ads as long as you dedicate some time to the process and, you know, learning how to sell. Another benefit is you have the potential to earn tens, hundreds, millions of pounds, right? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds. There's no cap to the agency space. You know, you could, if you wanted to, set a goal to earn an extra £2,000 a month. Typically, a client will pay you £1,000 a month for an advertising service. You know, you have 2 clients, that's 2K a month, which is 24 grand a year, which I believe is like a kind of semi-ish average salary in the UK. To get to like the 10K per month mark in the agency space, you can do that with no staff. I wouldn't necessarily advise it. You'll probably need some help with deliverables, but you can absolutely do that. The earning potentials are crazy. You know, we are 5 years in now, and our monthly revenues between 75K to 85K per month. It's taken time to get there, but it's just genuinely no cap. We've got friends in the agency space who are doing, you know, £250,000 a month. Some are doing 10,000 a month, some are doing 5,000. There's no cap. And you can be any age. You know, there are people in this game that are 18 years old making £100,000 a month. Facts. A good guy for some of you to look into would be Cameron England, right? I believe he's like 18 years old, and he's in the med spa niche. He is literally absolutely killing it. And I'm pretty sure he still lives at home with his mum. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, 18 years old making an absolute killing. So yeah, there's some benefits of running an agency.
Cool. So what's actually involved in running an agency? So you've got kind of broke this down into 4 parts. I'm going to go through a couple of them today. So prospecting and sales, so finding leads for you actually to close for your business, and then actually making the sales. Obviously delivering on the service you're providing them. So we're running Facebook adverts for them. You actually need to run it. Retention, obviously trying to keep the clients there, and then operations. So going into prospecting and sales first, here's a few tips on how we got our clients originally. So cool. So when we first started, and this was literally during our jobs, we were just Instagram DMing. So we both made ourselves business accounts, right? So I've got my normal account, which is personal one, Luke Harvey. Then I made one called Luke Harvey HW. So Luke Harvey, Harvey Warrington. That's in the business. Posted up photos of me, like just, you know, out for dinner or at a wedding with my girlfriend, with Sam, with a laptop, you know, just like business, doing work in an office, etc. We're just posting up photos. I didn't even have an office. I just went to an office and took photos and posted it up just to make it look credible. And then just start following businesses in a particular niche. So at the start, a common question we get asked is that, should you niche? And by that is like, do you pick a niche? Do you go into dentistry? Do you go into gyms? Do you go into roofing, home improvements? Do you do that? And at the start, you probably want to pick one to target, right, to go after, but don't necessarily need to go all in on it, because you can change as you go along. Like when we started, we worked with a lot of home improvement companies, roofing, scaffolding, etc. And now we mainly work in aesthetics and dental. And that's not even because aesthetics and dental is the best one. There's so many different niches you can go into. It's just we fell into it. We found it easy to get results for a certain client, and they knew a lot of people in that space. They recommended us, and now 90% of our clients are aesthetics and dental. But every niche is saturated as such, but every niche has so many businesses. So I'd say pick a niche to start off with. Let's say, I don't know, let's say home improvements, because I think that's generally an easy one to start with. Then what you want to do is follow loads of roofing pages, loads of building pages, etc. Like their photos, comment on their photos, and then DM them. Just DM them, and you just want to try and start a conversation with them. So a few different DMs we'd send is simple one. Hi, is this the best place to ask questions? Usually that will spark a response. They'll say, yes, this is the best place to ask questions. And then you can say, look, just to be completely transparent, I'm running a marketing agency. I can help you get new leads and clients for your roofing business. Would you be open to a 5-minute conversation? And that's it. And there's loads of different things you want to try. It's not going to be the same for everyone. Some people will just delete it and move on, but it's 100% just a numbers game. We used to DM, both of us, 40 people each. And it would only take like 40 DMs, ain't that much. 20 minutes. Both do that. Sometimes you can do it twice a day, to be fair. And that's how we got all our clients at the start, just from DMing and a few and cold calls as well. But DMing is so easy. Like, I was sitting at work, I would be sneaking out the back and just DMing people trying to make money. Like, I generally saw it as making money, because and you get a little buzz when you get responses, because you do send a lot. You send 40. Out of those 40, maybe only 5 will reply, and only 2 you can get into conversation with. But 2 conversations a day trying to sell your business, it worked. And then obviously Sam will be doing them as well. Yeah, so just keep posting as well regularly, and yeah, liking posts, sending DMs, etc.
I think something as well which works better when you're outreaching to businesses trying to create leads is sending a voice note. Not many people do this, but it's really effective, because if you're sliding in someone's DMs and you're sending a generic message, a lot of the time they'll read the first few words and they might just sieve past it. But if you send a voice note, it spikes curiosity, right? Like, people think to themselves, I wonder what they've said. So they're so much more likely to actually click and play the voice note, and in the voice note, you can just say, hey, I came across your page. I actually live local to you. I work with roofing companies, helping them get more clients. Let me know if you're open to a conversation. I'm happy to show you what's working well within XYZ niche right now. Hopefully speak to you soon. So I always found, when sending DMs in the early stages, sending voice notes, I always had a much higher response rate to generate a lead, so I can have a conversation and then sell them the service. So there's a good little gem.
And I think with the voice notes, your personality can come across a little bit better as well, rather than text. Because, to be honest with you, most of these businesses are getting similar messages every day, and you've got to find little ways to be unique and stand out, which can be hard. But again, it's a numbers game. You've got to try a few different things out. When you do get into conversation, start voice noting, like Sam said, and your personality will come across, and you will get a much warmer reception, I think. And they will always listen to it. You'll definitely always listen to a voice note, because you just want to see, just in case, what do they say. Other than Instagram, another way to get people is Facebook. So if you're going to do this, you need to kind of optimize your Facebook profile again to match what you're doing. Like, you probably got, if you've got loads of personal photos on there, you need to kind of hide them, because you want to come across professional. Like, my Facebook goes back to when I was like 11 years old. So I don't even know what I was posting at that time, but I don't really want people I'm trying to sell, trying to sell my services looking at those photos. So you got to hide them, make them private, etc. But so go join Facebook groups. So there's loads of, like, let's say I'm going to do roofing. There's loads of roofing groups out there where all roofing companies will join these roofing groups. Join them, and then just start DMing them and add them as your friend. And then other roofers will accept you, because they'll see that you're friends with loads of other roofers. And then you can DM them on Facebook the same way as Instagram, just asking, look, can we have a conversation? I can get you new clients. Most people are receptive to new clients. Like, everyone wants new clients. There's no way they don't. Like, me and Sam want new clients. So if they don't want new clients, then they shouldn't really have a business, or I don't know, they're trying to chill, or they're retired, one of those. By the way, Jack, if there's any questions as we go along that come in the chat, just ask me.
Yeah. We'll circle back usually to questions at the end. Just helps you flow, I think, a bit better. But like, some of the points there, like, so important. I think, like, I was commenting as well, but like, I get so many DMs from social media marketing agencies, like video editors, all of them, right? And I feel like so many of them have gone through the same course, where it's like, oh, is this the right place to ask a question? I'm like, dude, I don't care. I don't want your service, right? And if I get a voice note, I'm actually, I wonder what this guy said to me.
1000%. I'll tell you what's really important as well. In the early stages, when you're trying to generate leads through Instagram DMs, you need to think about how your page actually looks as well. Now, a big problem a lot of people have when they first start out is you're not going to have any clients, you're not going to have much experience. You might be thinking, well, what do I post on my Instagram to look trustworthy? So Luke touched on a point earlier. When I first started, I hired my mate Flynn, who had like some super old camera, right? Because I couldn't afford a photographer at the time. He followed me around London. I bought 10 changes of outfits, right? And I was sitting by Tower Bridge on my laptop on a phone, pretending I was closing deals, right? And I was posting stuff like that on my page. I stood by Tower Bridge, by London Bridge, in like a jacket, just posting content like that on my page. In the early stages really helped me build a brand. What also helps as well is personal branding is key. People trust people more than they trust logos, you know. Some of the biggest logos in the world, like McDonald's, they're killing people every single year, right? Whereas if you think about some of the biggest brands, Virgin, you don't think about Virgin, you think about Richard Branson, or Amazon, you think about Jeff Bezos, because there's a personal brand element there, right? So I'd advise, if you're thinking about starting an Instagram page, you don't always necessarily need to start a company page. Like, we didn't have a HW Media Instagram for the first 3 years of our 5-year business. It was all done by a business account, Samuel Warrington, Luke Harvey. That's what we built. Try and speak in front of the camera as well. Like, people do resonate with it. To start with, you know, you don't want to go on your Instagram trying to sell with every single post that you put on your Instagram. You want to give value, because people trust people that give away things for free. Alex Hormozy, everybody's heard about him and what he does fantastically well. He gives away everything for free. It's not really viable when you're first starting. You need to sell stuff, right? But for your Instagram content strategy, you can do a short video you can put on your IG. It could be 3 tips of how to generate leads for roofing companies, or here's what not to do when you're trying to, you know, grow your personal brand, and just start putting value on the page along with pictures. So you start building that presence, because when you're sending the messages, I mean, for me, if I get a message from someone, the first thing I'm doing, you guys might be the same. Before I reply, I'm clicking on their page and I want to see who they are, what are they about. If someone messages me asking to jump on a call with me, and I go on their page and they have like 1 post, I'm not even entertaining it. Like, I want to see some sort of traction or credibility within the industry. So give away value on your page from stuff you learn to start with, is what I'd advise. You don't need clients. Clients, of course, help, but you know, you've got to start somewhere. I'll go on. You've got something to say.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, and Sam said, yes, it was so important. Like I said, we didn't have the HO Media page until a couple of years in, because I think when you DM from or message someone from your page, like, people are definitely more likely to respond to you. We got more responses from our personal ones than the business. The business one does as well, does get replies as well, but personal, you're more likely, because it's less likely that you're trying to sell them something, I guess, so you get more replies.
And just to add, we got all of our clients from Instagram DMs for the first 2 years. A couple referrals, a few referrals, but all of our clients came from Instagram DMs. So like, some people say IGMs don't work, IGDMs don't work. They absolutely work. You know, they really do, as long as you do it right. Sorry,
that's all good. Yeah. And then another way that we were getting clients actually at the start was cold emails. So you can go on Google, just find some businesses you want to work with. Like, you can literally just type in roofing Surrey, and it'll kind of all the roofing companies Surrey, and then just send them a personalized email. But it can be like the same email that you're sending to everyone, just personalized, like the top line. Like, I went on your website and I saw you won an award, or I looked at that project you worked on in I don't know, in London, of this and that, and it it was, I don't know, you're going to say that roof maybe, but I saw your reviews or whatever. I like you're a family-based company, we're a family-based company as well, whatever it may be, but personalize it a little bit so they don't think that you've just sent that to everyone. Then the rest of the email can be the same. And again, you're kind of leading with the fact that you can help somebody get new clients. That's what it is. Like, you can help them make money. Most people are intrigued by that.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that as well, because when you're running an agency, your target audience is business owners. A lot of business owners are quite egotistical, right? So if you make a business owner feel researched and special, they're so much more likely to reply to you. I swear to God, it's the truth, right? So like, when I was sending DMs in the early days, I would find a post of somebody's work, or it might have been a profile about the business owner, and I'd read it and it might say, won 2 awards in aesthetics marketing or aesthetics dental or whatever. I'd send them a message saying, hey buddy, I came across this post. I noticed that you won the award for XYZ. That's really impressive. I've researched you online and I can see you're doing a lot of things right, but I've noticed a couple of things where you could be leaving a bit of money on the table. Let me know if you're open to a chat, because I'd love to just share some value on what you're already doing so well. They're so much more receptive to that than if you were to just say, I can get you new clients. Do you want to jump on a call? They'll be like, oh, fuck off. How many messages of that would they get a day? If I check my Instagram DMs now, I've probably had like 5 messages already today of people trying to sell me shit. Most of them just go over my head, but some of them always catch my eye, and they will for your clients as well.
You can send through videos as well. I didn't think from DMs as well. Like once someone's actually replied to you, you can just send them a video of you saying the same thing. It can be recorded, pre-recorded. Just send it to them, briefly explaining what you do. Again, personality will come across. With the emails, the longer you spend personalizing that email, the more it's personalized, the more likely they are to reply. So you can smash out emails and send out loads, like loads and loads. But if you take a little bit of extra time with every email, it might take you 5 times the time, but you're probably going to get 5 times more of the responses because of the personalization. There's a thing you can also use once you have most of the stuff we're trying to suggest is like free and not going to cost you anything. But when you do have a little bit of money coming in, you can sign up to, for example, instantly. You can input loads of email addresses, like 1,000 email addresses, write in 5 different emails, and it will just send it every day for you automatically rather than having to do it manually. Years ago, we used to do it manually, but yeah, there's so much software out there now that helps, and it will show you if someone's read it. So then you could call them, for example, and be like, oh, you read my email. Oh, got a quick question. So many different ways in.
Cold calling. So a lot of people say cold calling's dead, or cold calling doesn't work, or I don't want to cold call anymore. I can categorically say that cold calling still absolutely works in 2024. Okay. Now, cold calling, especially when first starting, in my opinion, is the biggest advantage that you guys can have. The thing is, I feel like a lot of people get cold calling wrong. Like they'll scrape some leads to cold call, and they'll try and pitch the business owner on the cold call, but that's like the worst thing that you can do, right? When you actually cold call a business, it's like I said earlier, before you cold call a business, you can literally just type it on Google. This is what we used to do, okay? You can type in roofing companies in your local area. Say roofing companies in Surrey, right? The first page of Google is usually a good page because those people will spend money on SEO or Google ads. So they're already spending money on marketing, which is usually good. You can literally click on a website. You can find out the number usually on the website. If they don't have the business owner's name on the website, the best way to find out who the decision maker is Companies House. For those of you that know what Companies House is, great. For those that don't, it's like a government register where every single registered business in the UK will be on Companies House. You can see who the decision maker is by going on people with significant control. It will tell you who the majority shareholder is. They're usually the decision maker, right? Companies House is good as well because you can even see people's like balance sheets and stuff if you want to do a real in-depth search. But really, that's where you're going to get the business owner's name from, right? Then, just calling that business and just saying, hey, I was doing some research and I came across your website. I can see that you have, it might be like latex roofing or whatever that you might offer. I don't know much about roofs, by the way. We work in aesthetics, just an example. And then you can say, I'm on your website. It's a lovely branded website, by the way. I really like that job that you've done in Worthing. The two-tone roof that you've done. They'll be like, oh, yeah. Now you've kind of made them feel good because you've researched them. It's not just like an out of the blue call saying, buy my stuff. Then you say, look, I specialize within your industry, helping roofers like you generate more clients. If you're open to like a 10-minute call, I can send you a Zoom link and we can jump on a meeting. When would be good for you, tomorrow or Wednesday? Right? Always ask that alternative question, alternative close. Instead of, are you available? They're going to say yes or no. But if you say, when's the best time to catch you? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday. Okay, great. Morning or afternoon? Afternoon. 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Okay, I'll send you a Zoom link and some confirmation. And that's how you book in a meeting from a cold call. You have to do your research, but it's not like you have to do crazy amounts of research. Like you can literally just go on a website and you can just point out 2 things that they're doing well. Mention that to the business. Mention that you work with roofers or you work with med spas or you work with dental practices and you help them get more clients. I can see you're doing a lot of things good right now, but there's just a couple of things I can see from your online strategy, what you could be doing a bit better. When's good for a call? The idea of a cold call, it's not to sell your service, it's to sell the meeting. Once you've got the meeting confirmed, that's when you can sell your services, okay? Because, they've given you permission. And you can even say on that cold call, look, I wouldn't want to pitch you without your permission, of course. And I don't even know if you'd be the right fit for us yet, but just according to your website, I feel like I could definitely just add some value, at the very least, just tell you what's working within your industry right now. When would you be free for a call? You'd be surprised about the amount of people that would be open to that as well,
We had somebody who just recently started an agency and they came to our office and spent the day with us, and we spent the afternoon cold calling, like Sam basically gone through the similar what it's gone through in a bit more detail, and I think we booked like 5 or 6 meetings for this person who had no agency, like just started it, and he booked 5 meetings from it. All with, again, that was all home improvements as well, roofers, etc. So yeah, there's so many different ways in with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Google's your best friend when cold calling, really, because you can find out so much information about the prospect before you actually make that contact. A great place to start would be local, right? I remember the first meeting I ever booked in 5 years ago. It was with a local restaurant in Oxted, and I used to love going to that restaurant as well. I called him, same process I just told you guys. He agreed to meet me. I had no experience selling marketing. I was used to selling investments in like wine and diamonds and recruitment, right? So I went into that meeting trying to sell, like hardball old school selling. It just did not work, man. It was such an embarrassment of a meeting. I haven't been back to the restaurant since, and I could just tell I really pissed off the business owner. So what I learned was very quickly, the goal is not to really like sell. If you guys have got sales experience, it's more so to be a conversational problem solver. If you can really listen to a prospect and understand what their problems are, and then offer solutions through marketing, the sale will just come so much more naturally. I think it was Zig Ziglar, is a great motivational speaker, who said once, stop selling and start helping. The minute you start helping a prospect, the sale just kind of comes naturally, and it comes from a place of genuine care as well, which is always going to make you come across authentic, because it is how you are genuinely feeling towards that prospect. And the best thing is about marketing is it actually helps businesses. We've got clients who last month made 40k, 50k, 60k sales off the back end of basic lead generation ads, right? So you can genuinely help these businesses. It's important you believe that before you go to sell them services. Okay.
So saying that, like one of our first clients we got that is still with us like 3 years later. Well, when we got into this niche, and to be honest with you, at that moment in time, we didn't even really know what we were doing too much, but it worked. And then you just learn as you go along.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. The first 6 months, we didn't have a Scooby-Doo what we were doing. We really didn't. We were just signing clients and working it out, right? If I could give advice to anyone starting out, is so many people make this mistake. They're like, oh, I need to get my website perfect. I need business. Let me tell you something about business cards, right? When we first started this agency, we printed out 5,000 business cards. The next week, I lost my phone and had to change my number. I've still got those business cards in my office today, right? You don't need everything perfect before you sign clients. You don't need the perfect website. You don't need the perfect brand. I think it was Richard Branson once said, like, if you don't know how to do something, accept the job and then work it out, because you will work it out, right? Signing clients is always the first priority. The rest you can learn once you've signed the client. It's the best advice I can give. Went on a bit of a tangent there. Let me not digress too much. So cold calling, how can you prospect through cold calling? Build a list from Google. Very easy. All the information's public. Start local. Local businesses, I think when you first start, especially if you say you're from the local area, they're just going to listen to you a little bit more than if you're from London calling a business in Glasgow, right? It's a little bit more personable. Google Maps, directories, Facebook and Instagram are really good as well. If you want to go after, say, the fitness niche, you can just type in, fitness influencers on Instagram, go on a suggested page. You're going to have like 100, 200 people you can literally just DM straight off the cuff of doing that. Google sponsored ads. So again, if you run a Google search, type in roofing companies as an example in Surrey. If they've got the AD logo next to the business name, they're already running Google ads. And there's the saying, preaching to the choir. It's usually easier to sell a business marketing if they're already investing in marketing, because they understand they actually need it, right? Luke, what does that word even say?
Oh, data miner. That's just
data miner.
Just a website where you can just mine loads of data effectively. So you can put in, for example, United Kingdom roofing companies, and it will give you like all of their data, like names, numbers, email, website, all that stuff, and then you can just make a list and just cold call all of them.
Okay, data miner. There you go. Company's house as well is a very effective strategy. Okay. Company's house for background checks as well is really interesting. As I said, like you don't just find out who the decision maker is. You've heard of like running CRB checks if you're chatting to a new woman or whatever, you can run a business CRB check on a business by going on balance sheets. You can see how much money they're putting through the books and turning over, which can give you an indication as to, you know, how much you could potentially charge a business as well, which is always interesting. But I mean, to start with, I wouldn't even advise doing a proper in-depth search like that. You're going to waste way too much time. Just find out the name from Companies House and then book in the meeting. And then before the meeting, that's when you'll do the proper research to properly prepare for that meeting. Cold calling scripts. Okay, cool. So by the way, if anyone wants a cold calling script, message me after this. I'll send it to you for free, right? We've got some really effective cold calling scripts. I'll even send you an objection handling script completely for free as well after this call. Just drop me a message, Samuel Warrington _HW. I'll send it to you straight away. The idea of cold calling is building rapport, yes and no. Like, the thing is, people don't always understand what is meant by building rapport. Like, there's so many fallacies in sales which say, you know, be just like the prospect and they'll trust you, and, you know, make sure you're really similar to the prospect. Like, if they've got a dog, you've got a dog. Just scrap that. Like, I don't think there's any solid evidence of that actually being the case, right? To build rapport means that you're winning their way of thinking from understanding their problem and offering them a solution, so they see you as a level of authority. Okay. In my opinion, when you have salespeople that go into calls, you know, just completely mirroring people and interested in exactly the same things, it can come across as slightly disingenuous, right? You want to try and keep it as much to the point as possible and stay on a straight line, you know? Cold calling, I don't even ask people how they are. I think the minute you ask someone how they are, it sparks automatic sales resistance, because every single cold caller says, "How are you today, John?" It's like, who the fuck is this, you know? So I think more so just going straight into the point is the most important thing you can do, okay? Discovery stage, you know, you want to find out a bit about that business. Ask open questions. You only need to ask 2 or 3 solid open questions to identify a little bit about the prospect. You know, an example of a couple open questions you could say is, you know, from my research, John, I can see that you're offering XYZ treatments on your website. What type of treatments would you say it is for your clinic that you're looking to get more clients for? Okay, I'd rather get clients for, say, dermal fillers. Okay, and
recording stopped.
Jack, I think it stopped recording. Is that meant to happen?
That was just the AI pilot. I'm actually recording with another software anyway, so we're still recording. We're all good.
Okay, all right, great. Where was I? Yeah, so open questions in a cold call. You know, what type of clients is it you're trying to attract right now? What's your capacity for new clients? You know, how many new clients could you be seeing within your business until you're at full capacity? They might say, I could be seeing an extra 20 clients a week. Okay, so you could be seeing an extra 80 clients a month. John, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. And what would you say is the average spend per client in your business? They might say £100. Well, if you just identified they can take on an additional 80 clients, if you could get them that, you can generate them an extra 8K per month if you can fill up their diary. But from experience, if you're going to go after med spa niches or dental niches, one client could be worth 5, 6, 7 grand, 10 grand, 3 grand. You don't always need to get a business loads of clients for them to make a healthy return. Okay. So it's always important you kind of identify where they are now, where they're trying to go, and then for the meeting, you can bridge that gap. That's called a solution sell, which is the most effective. On the meeting, don't sell the service. 80-20 rule's key, okay? 80-20 rule on a cold call is, you know, you shut up 80% of the time and you use your ears and you listen, and then you speak 20% of the time, okay? You don't want to sell the service, you want to sell the meeting, okay? You don't want to go into crazy amounts of detail on the cold call. You can have the meeting for that. You want to book the meeting, okay? So there's a couple of gems about cold calling.
One mistake that we did actually do is that we didn't run adverts for a long time with Facebook and Instagram ourselves for our own company. I think at the time kind of procrastinated about it and thought, like, we don't really know what we're doing. There's other marketing agencies that do know what they're doing. If we try and run adverts and go against them, then it's gonna cost a lot of money, right? But I was just completely wrong. And I think when you have generated some money and you do have a few clients coming in, then don't be afraid to put some money into Facebook and Instagram adverts. even £20 a day, because you'll get leads from it, and it will even help you get better with sales because you're going to get used to having more and more meetings. So definitely don't wait a couple of years to run the adverts. Do them when you've got a few clients and you can afford to. I think best thing to do is, like, we didn't quit our jobs for, we did it for like a year until we quit our jobs. I think now if we started again, we would be able to quit our jobs a lot quicker because, again, we know how to do it much faster. But yeah, we just did it alongside our jobs, on our lunch break, before work, after work, DMing all the time, cold calling after work, running the adverts, learning adverts after work, in the weekend. Like, you can just make it work. But yeah, run adverts when you can, when you've got cash flow. Cool. So other than cold calling, other than the sales, the next part of it is the service delivery side of things. So just going to touch briefly on this. So you're probably thinking, like, how am I going to learn this? How am I going to learn how to run adverts? And the simplest adverts to run are lead generation adverts, right? You're literally running an advert on Facebook or Instagram which says, are you in the market? Do you need a new roof? Keep going about roofing, but yeah, whatever. Do you need a new roof? And a photo of a roof saying, with an offer on, saying £1,000 off, whatever. And then it has a button. Click the button and it will ask for someone's name, number, and email. And then the company will get sent that, which then they'll call them and try and book in a quote. Like, it's not rocket science. And generally you can learn everything on YouTube. You can buy courses as well, which makes, I think courses, everything's collated together rather than you having to trench through YouTube, watching video here, video there, video there. But at the start, generally, that's all we did. We didn't pay for anything at the very start, just did the YouTube videos. You will be able to pick it up. And once you run it a few times, then you'll just get quicker and quicker. And you can kind of basically copy and paste to a certain extent. Like, if you work with a roofing company in, I don't know, up north, and then you work with a roofing company local to you, most time you can use exactly the same advert, just maybe change the photos and make it that business, and then you might change the area, but the advert's going to be pretty much the same. And that's why a good thing is about being in a niche, you can pretty much replicate what you're doing. Another thing I used was Facebook groups. That was more to ask questions. So if I had a question, I'll go on the Facebook group. There's loads of Facebook adverts, and I'll type in the search bar my question, and usually someone else had asked it, and I'd look at the comments. But generally, that's my best advice for that when you're learning the adverts. With the sale, definitely focus on booking meetings before the adverts. I think you need to learn how adverts work. So definitely watch videos on how they work so you can explain it properly to whoever you're speaking to. But you don't need to do loads and loads of research into the adverts. Focus on the sales, because you could literally spend a whole month doing the adverts, but if you've got no one to speak to about it, then it's pointless. You can get the client and then work it out, and you'll work out better from the conversations you're having with people, from the questions they're asking. That's what we found anyways.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's important, like Lou said, you have a basic understanding of adverts, right? But to be perceived as an expert, you only need to know more than the person you're speaking to. And if you're going to go after like the roofing niche, they ain't going to know too much about ads most of the time. The med spa niche is great. The dental niche is great. That's what we specialize in. You'll find with certain niches, they're more savvy than others. Okay. So in the dental industry, firstly, they're quite hard leads to prospect and get through to, because they have gatekeepers, receptionists. They're really hard to actually pin down because they're always in surgery. But some niches, they know that stuff about ads. So having a basic understanding of lead generation and split testing is important, but it's also quite simple. And it's very easily learned. As long as you dedicate a bit of time to learning it, you guys will be absolutely fine.
Cool. And just a couple of softwares that we've used for years, and we just find them so useful. We've got Go High Level, right? Go High Level is, I'll try and show you, but it does everything. So what happens is, when you're running your own adverts, your leads can go into the system here, and you can track like how many times you've called them to try and get hold of them. You can track their emails. It's effectively like a CRM service. So your conversations will come up. This is just a blank version, but your conversations with people, so you can look at their history, you have notes. If you put in loads of email addresses in here, you can send bulk emails. You can send bulk texts, which is something I like doing. You can send bulk WhatsApps. You can literally just put in 100 WhatsApp numbers that you've got, and then send out a bulk WhatsApp. It's kind of like a broadcast to everybody on there. Not only that, your leads for your clients can come in here. It's very useful because Facebook, to be honest with you, their platform that they use for the leads to come into isn't very good. It's not very organized. It's very hard for clients to use. Whereas this is like a portal for that. I think it costs about $97 a month for this, which is about £80. So when you first sign your first client, then get this. You can build a website on it for free. So you can, and there's so many templates. Like you generally don't have, if you've never built a website before, you don't even need, it doesn't even matter. You can go on it, build a website, build emails, build funnels. There's so much you can do. So definitely I'd get this as soon as possible. I think there's a free trial. Have a little look. Then other tools, just a few tools here. Like you've got Trello, which is really good for organizing yourself. It's free. So just sign up to the free version and you can write a to-do list. You can put it like if it's in progress, complete, pending, whatever. Trello is really useful. Another thing that most people I'd hope would have heard of it, but is ChatGPT. Like it's generally so good for anything that you need, really. You can go on there and ask it for, I'm just starting my marketing agency. I've started a new Instagram. Please, can you give me 5 ideas of what I can post about and give me the captions? And it will just write out for you. It will save you so much time. Let's say you're working with a client and you're not really sure what captions to write or what copy to put in an email or anything. You can just ask it and it will give you the information. Like generally, even though obviously know what we're doing now, we'll still use this. Our team will still use this just to see what ideas it gives us, because sometimes it can save you like an hour, 2 hours in your day. Let's say you're sitting there and you think, what am I going to post today on Instagram? Just put it in there. Say, I want to post a video, and it will just give you a script of what to say and what to do and where to do it, in camera angles and everything. So yeah, ChatGPT is pretty sick. You can ask it literally, I need some ideas on how to get clients for my marketing business in roofing, and it will give you ideas. Again, the more information you give it, the better it'll answer your question. Facebook ads library. So Sam touched on this earlier, right? So go on Google, right? Facebook ads library, and then search the meta ad library. So this is where it's like a gold mine. It will show you everyone's adverts. So let's go on all ads, type in roofing, search USA, UK, whatever, search roofing, and it will come up with all the roofing adverts out there. So you double click on it and you can see what other people's adverts are, and you can see how long they've been running them. So sometimes this says 21st of May. So they just started this advert yesterday, but you might go on it, it might say it's been running it since the 21st of January. So you know this advert's a good advert and it's working. So you know if you bring on a roofing client, you can do something similar, right? Another thing, Sam said, that you can preach to the choir. If people are already spending money on marketing, it's easier to persuade them to now spend the money with you instead. It's actually harder to convince someone that doesn't run adverts that they should run adverts, because they're not already spending money on that. So it's a bit foreign to them. Not that you can't persuade them, they brought in a lot of people that way, but if they're already running adverts, go on there, email this person, cold call them, DM them, and say that you can do it better than these people because of X, Y, Z. So you can go through here. This just gives you so many people to contact. And sometimes you can tell once you've done some adverts yourself, you'll be able to tell which companies are using agencies. Like I can tell that this company here, like, because the ad copy is quite short, there's just not much to it. It's sending them to, instead of a lead form, it's going to send us to their website, which we don't really recommend. That they're not working with an agency, but they are spending money. So they do want to give it a go. So this person's worth calling. You can just sit in here all day. There's so many different people to contact. So that's Facebook ads library. Then you've got, again, another free service is Google Docs, like Google Docs, Google Slides. It's effectively like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Sheets, Microsoft Excel, all that stuff. But it's for free and it's online, so it's live. So if you've got like clients or anything, you can share the documents with them. It's really easy. And when I bring on a client, I always ask them to upload their all their photos and content to a Google Drive, which again is free. You can pay for Dropbox, but you might pay 10, 20 quid a month. So much better to use Google Drive and do it for free. Another tool is Instantly. So that's what I was touching earlier, where you can just send out automatic emails. Like you can add in 1,000 emails and it'll just send them automatically for you, and then you'll get replies. Again, you're trying to book a meeting and it will just automatically send them out and kind of automatically book your meetings. Last bit, bit about hiring a team. So one thing me and Sam did early on is hired someone in the Philippines to do our email outreach and look after that stuff, because we paid them, it was around £400 a month, right? It's £100 a week, right?
I think that was dollars actually, so it worked out to be even cheaper than that.
Yeah, $400 a week, right? And this was when me and Sam were in a job. So before me and Sam left the job, we had a full-time employee effectively that was just doing admin for us and sending emails, because again, $400 is really good wage there. And effectively, if they signed us, they were sending emails out every day, booking meetings for us every day, so that when we finish work, we can do the meetings, etc. They would, let's say they're booking one meeting a day for us. If we closed one client, and at that point we were new, so we're charging £500 a month. If we sign one client in that whole month, we've just paid that person's wages. If we sign 2, we've just doubled our money. If we sign 10, we're laughing. So there's loads of places you can go on and to hire people that know more than you, and they'll be better at it than you anyway, because they've been doing it for longer. So you've got places like Upwork, Fiverr, general agencies online. So that's good. Again, another thing that really helped our business, this is talking latter stages, but started hiring in South Africa, because the wages were much cheaper there as well, because of the low unemployment rates of South Africa. Like, we brought on salespeople that would cost us 25k in the UK a year, which were costing us maybe under 10k. So you're saving that money. We've generally got like 10 people in South Africa now, and if we didn't know about finding these people in South Africa, we wouldn't be able to have the team we have, because it would be way too expensive in the UK.
Oh, absolutely. Just to elaborate as well, although the South African staff are cheaper, they are so good. Like, English is their first spoken language. They're very articulate. They're good at writing. They work so hard. And, if you were to pay someone out there, say even a 12k a year salary, 1,000 a month plus commission, I think like the average wage in South Africa is about £500-600 a month. So, you're giving them a good opportunity, and they're a part of your business. A benefit of South Africa too is the time zones are basically the same. So South Africa's an hour ahead of the UK, right? So it's literally perfect for that side of things. And I think a benefit of an agency is because you don't necessarily need all UK staff. You can get people in South Africa when you first start, because when you first start, the biggest problem is cash flow, having the finances. Hiring someone in the UK for your first point of hire, if your agency is only making 2,000 a month and you need help, hiring someone in the UK is going to cost you about £2,000 a month, and then you're back on ground zero. Whereas if you've maybe signed a few clients and you want help running adverts, you can find a media buyer. A media buyer is a full-time member of staff that will run your adverts for you. Philippines is great for finding media buyers, and you can find a good media buyer for $700 a month. Then you've got that time back of you having to run the ads continuously. So if you wanted to, you could focus more so on just finding new clients and growing the business. Okay. Effectively, hiring a team, I'd always advise outsource to start with. When you're starting to make some decent-ish cash flow, then look to hire in the UK. Or maybe you might not even want to hire. Like, you don't have to. If you guys are just thinking about a side hustle, you could sign 4 clients paying you 1,000 a month each. That's 4k, or say when you're starting out, if you were to charge 500 a month, like Luke said, that's 2k a month of managing 4 clients' ad accounts. If you get those 4 clients in the same niche, then it's like Luke said, you can more or less kind of replicate a strategy for each and every account. And that's most definitely a benefit, in my opinion, of niching. Doesn't mean you have to. Like, when we first started, we just take on anyone that would pay us. This is back in 2019, but we learned very quickly that it's quite hard to work in loads of different niches. If you can stick in one niche, you're gonna, develop and understand, become an expert so much quicker.
Yeah, I think on that as well, I didn't really talk about that earlier, but you learn the adverts, right? Learn what you can, run the adverts yourself. But when you've got a few clients, like, you can actually just go on these Philippine websites and hire people that will you can pay them, for example, like £100 an account. You're charging 500 quid, they're running the account for £100, and you'll learn from what they're doing as well. So obviously you want to be able to do it yourself to start off with, but they will do it way better because it's their full-time job, and that they would have been doing it for years. So you can hire some really good people. So yeah, as soon as you've got good cash flow, it's definitely something to look into. If that's the type of business you want to scale it and become your full-time job, Or like Sam said, if you just want to keep it as a side hustle, you might just want to do it yourself and have the extra income. Cool. Last slide for us. So wrote the video course / burst mentorship. So we've like honestly spent a lot of money on courses and like video courses where you learn how to sell, learn how to do adverts, etc. And we've also spent a lot of money on mentorships, and they both play a different kind of role. A video is good because you can go on and visit the course and look at how to run adverts. You can always reflect back to it. But then when you need some help, it's much harder to get the help. Like you can go on Facebook groups, like I said, but sometimes the help's a bit outdated or people won't reply, etc. You can't really get the question answered quickly. Whereas if you've got a mentorship, you actually have people that are there usually that you can just message on WhatsApp, depending on the mentorship, and say, Luke, I've got a problem with my ad account. Can I send you a video and show you it? And I can answer it straight away. Yeah, we've spent a lot of money on different mentorships over the last years. Yeah.
Overall, mentorships for us, we've probably invested over 75k in the last 5 years. We just bought a mentorship for 18k with a company that's helping us launch in the States. We wouldn't be where we are today by ourselves. Like, there is no way, man. Like, there's no way. We've learned everything we've learned from collabing, building relationships, networking, so important, you know, always being kind and friendly to people. It really helps. Like, everybody in this industry is a contact as well. Like, if you can leave a good impression with people, you'd be surprised. Like, the majority of people are nice people, and they do like to help others. You know, sometimes just by having a friendly approach and asking someone who's doing well in a niche you're interested in, you know, approaching a business owner saying, hey, I've been following you on Instagram for a little while. I love what you've built, you know, you're building here. I'd love to just take you for a coffee and understand a little bit more about your journey and how you've got to where you have today. That is so humbling for a business owner to hear. Like, you'd be surprised about the amount of people that say, hell yeah, all right, I'll meet you for a coffee. I'm happy to tell you how I got here. It's nice. Like, you've got to remember, you know, entrepreneurship's quite lonely at times. And if you've, you know, spoken to a business owner who's been in your industry for 5-6 years, even if they say no, it's fine. Like, it's a numbers game. You could message like 30, 40, 50 entrepreneurs in your niche asking if you can meet them for a coffee. If 49 say no and one says yeah, and you learn one thing from that person, it's time well spent. It genuinely is time well spent. So yeah, mentoring is important. Courses are important, depending on what type of individual you are as well, I'd say. For me personally, I hate online courses. Luke doesn't mind them, but I just switch off. You know, I like to actually be involved and speak and talk to people. But it works for some people, you know, just not everybody. So I think it's about.
I agree. I mean, I think with like, I think it's good for people to have an option, right? But I think with online courses, so many people rush through the course content or never get through all of it. So you're taking on all of this knowledge that, you know, let's say you guys had a course, like 5 years worth of SMA knowledge in like 10 hours, right? I've watched that all in one day. Like, there is no time to understand it, dissect it, and have your thoughts on your own, right? So, I mean, it's definitely important to leverage. I think a mentor, obviously, we're massive advocates for it as well. We've actually got a few questions come in, so I'm just going to start reading them out. So this is on sort of cold DMing, personalized messaging. In some instances, it's saying it doesn't really work anymore since everyone has realized there was potential and it's become really saturated instantly. If you aren't established, how would you be able to find a client who would be willing to spend money on you without having any results to show from before? Do you offer services for free or take like a percentage from sales on ads?
Yeah, it's a great question. And when you're starting out, I remember this, and it's hard when you first start out, but use being new as your biggest selling point. You know, if you get on the phone to a potential customer and they say, oh, you're brand new, why should I work with you? You know, you can just say to them, look, you're right, I am brand new. You know, I'm young, I'm in my early 20s, if you are in your early 20s, or just, you're right, I am brand new. I have a point to prove. My aspiration is I want to be the leading, you know, agency in XYZ sector. And the only way I'm going to get there is by getting good case studies and good testimonials. So I need this to work. You know, if I'm going to grow my company, I'm not going to get there by having one of my first clients, you know, disappointed and leaving me a bad review. So that's something that I used to use a lot, like leveraging the fact that, yeah, you're right, I'm new, I've got a point to prove. You want to go work with that agency down the road, they've been in your industry for 5 years, they've got 55 clients just like you, probably paying twice the amount of service charge you have. You're gonna probably have to wait 5, 6, 7 hours just for a response to your email. You need me, you call me, I'm there. You message me, I reply straight away. I have to make this work. I'm in the growing stages. So that's how I'd advise leveraging being new to your advantage. Talk about how if you do go to another agency who's more established, you're just a number. For me, you are my project. I'm looking to build this relationship long term. In answer to your question regarding did you mention about the DMing personalized messaging not really working? I think with DMing, you have to stand out and be a little bit different. So that's why I mentioned about the voice noting, right? It's so much more effective than just sending a generic message. Okay. Say something which is going to make someone feel slightly researched in your voice note by just saying, hey, I've researched your website, Instagram, and Facebook. I love the work you're doing in the roofing industry, especially that job you completed in Worthing. I work with a couple of roofing companies nearby and I help them generate more clients. Would you be open to a call so I can show you what's working in the industry? Something as simple as that can be so effective. And most people will never reply to you. It's disheartening, I know, but most people will never reply to you. You might send 40 messages in a day. Someone might even tell you to F off, or I'm not interested. But it's compounding. If you send 40 messages a day, how many is that a week? 40 times 7. What is that?
280.
280. Thanks, Jack. So if you send 280 messages, 2 people reply, 1 person gets on a call with you, it's worth it. When you first start, that's just what you've got to do.
Well, ultimately, right, like the whole point of DMs and social media, it's free marketing. So DM is your time, right? And I mean, this is what makes people stand out, right? Are you going to sit there for an hour a day sending 40 DMs, personalizing them to people to try and get a sale? Because otherwise, if you give up and then you're like, oh, well, nobody wanted to buy me, how hard did you try, right? Because as you said, it compounds. Because if you do that for a month, right, and you get 3 clients out of it, I mean, it was worth it, right? I mean, even if you got 1 client out of it, it was worth it. So how to determine who your target demographic is from your client. So I think this is talking about, so when you're going to run an ad for your client, how do you work on who you're targeting as part of that ad?
You know what? Facebook and Instagram, they know everything about everyone, right? They know so much. Most people have had Facebook and Instagram most of their life. So all your messages, all your DMs you're sending your friends, all the pages you like, all the videos you watch, they know this. It's going into this data and they know they have a profile about you, right? They probably know you better than your friends. So when you're running adverts, right, Facebook want you to win. They want you to get leads for your clients because then your clients are going to spend more money, right? So the adverts aren't as complicated as you think. Like these days, you can run something called a broad targeting, right? Where you just put in that you're going to target people aged 20 to 50, right? That live in a certain area. So you might just say Surrey or London plus 20 miles, or it doesn't matter the location, but the location. And you might select all genders, or if it's maybe, let's say it's aesthetics and it's women treatments, you're going to target females, but whatever. You'll just run that advert, right? And it can tell from the ad copy, the video, and the page that you're running the advert from, who it should target, and it will do the work for you. There is other ways that you can add in interest. You can say, oh, you want to target people that are interested in, I don't know, going to the gym or shopping or, I don't know, Louis Vuitton or running. It doesn't matter. There's interest you can pick. And most of the time it wants you to win. So the adverts will get you leads. Like you'd be surprised. Like sometimes we have clients that we literally just run these broad adverts for. It's really easy and it pull leads in all the time. And without going into mad detail, but the ad account starts to work out. The more leads the ad account will work out 100 people have filled out this form. What have they all got in common? And it will target more people like that. So it generally isn't rocket science. Like you could go on YouTube, watch like 4 hours worth of videos, and I guarantee you could go onto your own ads manager on Facebook and set up your own adverts to an okay standard. Obviously not going to be mind blowing, but to an okay standard.
Yeah, I think that's really useful, and I mean I've definitely seen that with my own ads, right? When I've run them. So, last couple of questions: how would you determine your client's budget? So I imagine, because obviously as a service they're going to pay you, and then they need money for ad spend. Like, what would you have a recommendation for them, or would you sort of go off of what they think?
Yeah, of course. So I think ultimately it's really important to manage expectations before you actually onboard the client, right? So, for example, with ad spend, it depends on the niche, but if we let's take roofing. Why do we keep saying roofing? We don't even
First ever client was roofing.
first ever client.
We don't have any roofing clients.
We've got no roofing clients now, but let's say, for example, let's talk about something we do every day. Yeah, aesthetics. You signed an aesthetics clinic, right? They could be a small clinic, a solo practitioner. Now, for that industry, a budget that we would always advise would be a minimum of £30 a day. £30 a day over a month is £900 a month. Okay. Now, the reason we'd advise that budget is I'd give them a breakdown. I'd say an average cost per lead is probably going to be about £10 cost per lead. That's 3 leads a day, right? Over a calendar month, that would be 36, 90, 120 leads, 120 leads in a month, okay? Or for a £10 cost per lead, or for £30 budget a day. Now, if you've got 120 leads in a month and you only convert 10% of your leads, which is very conservative and average, okay? You've now got 12 new clients. In the initial call before we got to this point, I'm speaking to the prospect, I would have found out what that average client spend is. In aesthetics, it's usually about 500 quid. Okay. So if I can get you 12 new clients spending £500 each, that's £6,000 of new clients that have been generated. Right. So I always kind of like explain that to the prospect. I always make sure before I even talk about ad spend, I want to understand how much an average client's worth to them, how many more clients they've got room for. And then when I'm actually talking and advising about ad budget, I'd give them a genuine kind of piece of information, which is going to help them get their capacity to that desired amount. Does that kind of make sense? Instead of just throwing numbers out, like you want to make it specific to them, right? If they've got room for 20 new clients in a month and they only want to spend 300 quid a month on ads, I'll tell them, forget it. Ain't going to work. You need to spend more,
I think another question earlier was about, that we missed, was about, like, should you offer it for free, right? And to be transparent, like, we've never worked for free ever. Like, we never offered free trials or anything, because it's just when you do free trials, sometimes it's harder to get money out of people. But people that we know do, and have just been starting, have successfully run free trials with people. It's something that you want to keep in your locker. Like, if you're trying to sell, try and keep your price whatever, 500 quid a month, whatever, and have a few conversations with them. And you can't convert them, they're really not going to buy. Then potentially, if they think they're going to be a good business to work with, offer them a free trial and say, look, I'll work with you for 2 weeks and get you leads. If I get you X amount of leads, this is how much I'm going to charge you after that. And it does work. It does work now, because a lot of people are doing it, and it gives you a place to practice. Like, they're not paying for you, they're paying for the ads. Definitely make them pay for the actual ad spend, but you kind of work with them, and it's kind of like work experience in a way. And generally, if you go after high ticket niches, so don't go after something where someone's going to try and sell something for like 20-30 quid. Like home improvements, if you sell a driveway for somebody, they might make 10 grand. If you do a dentist Invisalign treatment, that might be 4 grand. If you do aesthetics, the treatment package might be £500. High ticket offers are so much better, because if you're spending, let's say, £500 to £1,000 on adverts, and they got to pay you a service fee as well, then it's much easier to make them back. If you've got businesses where they only need to get 1 or 2 customers to make that money back, then yeah, you're laughing.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Sorry, I've had to jump to my phone because my mic died. So last two. So with lead generation, how do you appeal to the target audience and retain them for the product? So I guess, if you're going to, and I know we covered some of this as well through your slides, but what would be the best way, do you think, to retain them, for the service?
Like, definitely building a relationship with them. Like, sometimes, and we've done it before when first started, like, we were doing really well for people, but because we weren't communicating with them, building a relationship with them, they've gone to other agencies, even though we were doing so well for them. And then likewise, we've done really poor for people when we first started, when we didn't know what we were doing. But because we had a relationship with them, we were talking to them every week, keeping them updated with everything, trying to see if there's anything else we can help with them. People stayed with us without getting results, like for the first, sometimes big results for the first couple of months. And then they stayed with us. And then as we got
you blew up. And then the last one is very much, sorry, go on.
I was going to say just on that as well, right? One client can change the game for you, because the first client we signed, Simon, we used to call him Super Simon. We knew nothing about marketing when we signed him. And we built the relationship. We had a couple of parties with him as well. And he just bought into us because we were just young kids just trying to make it work at the time. After like 3 months, he referred us one of his friends. We done okay for that friend, but we were still learning. Then that friend referred us 2 more people. And between Simon and this guy called Jimmy, it led to 8 clients, just all from that, group of friends. So if you can build relationships with people, especially when you're new, use it to your advantage, because people like it. People like someone who's trying to better themselves and do well. They just buy into it. So always make sure you build relationships, because as I said, one client can lead to like 10 referrals, and then you're laughing.
100%. And then the last question is around, obviously you're working with guys in the Philippines, in South Africa. How do you go about employing these type of people? Do you have to provide fixed term contracts outside, specific example outside IR35, or are you sort of using Upwork?
A lot of them are contractors, really, or you pay them through the places that
platform,
like Upwork, Fiverr. So you're just paying them, so you don't really have to deal with all that stuff. If you're doing the UK a lot of the time, then you obviously have to get them signed up to PAYE, etc. But usually if they're abroad, they'll just be contractors, and they sort out their own tax and everything.
Just on that, with people overseas, so although they are technically contractors, to build a good culture and make sure our staff are happy, we offer them permanent placement perks. So they've all got 25 days annual leave. We give them their birthdays off. We give them incentives. They're treated like a valued member of staff, not necessarily how a contractor would be treated. Not saying that contractors aren't valued, but permanent members of staff have better benefits. So I think to build that culture, if you do decide to hire, just make sure you look after your staff, and they'll tend to stay.
Well, look, guys, I can't thank you enough. I think that was incredible. So much value from hearing from the pair of you, especially based on your experience. And I think, like, even myself, I could go off and take some value here around how I can sort of further my business, or even if I ever wanted to start an agency, I feel like I'm confident enough to do it. So look, guys, I really appreciate you coming on. Do you have any last words that you'd like to say?
I think in terms of like last words, if anybody has like any questions, or they might want to know something about how we've built certain systems, please do feel free to drop me a message, drop Luke a message. We're happy to have a chat, have a call. Ultimately, it's like imposter syndrome, I think, is the hardest thing to overcome when, trying to find a side hustle to start. Is it going to work? Am I going to make it? There are risks, but I think the beautiful thing within the agency game is you don't really need to invest in anything to start. Like, within reason, you can learn so much from YouTube. You can learn so much from your network. All you need is a phone and a laptop, and you've got pretty much everything you need to start. I think the best thing about the agency space as well is the margins are incredible. This isn't drop shipping. This isn't Amazon FBA, and great business models. They really are. But in those industries, you might make 10% of everything you sell. In some cases, more. In the agency game, especially when you first start, you sign a client for £1,000 a month. That's your £1,000. You sign a client for £500 a month. That's your £500 a month. The profit margins in service-based businesses are always tasty. They're really good. When you start hiring staff and you go VAT registered, which is like years down the line, the profit margins do decrease. But first start is the best place to be, man, because it's 100% profit. All you need is a few clients and you're laughing,
Yeah, probably last thing to mention is, so obviously the reason we're on it today is because we offer a mentorship on MentorME. So the mentorships, generally, we really don't push them that much at all. Like, if you go on our Instagram, we don't post about them ever, or Facebook, nothing, because we're running our business. Like, a lot of coaches out there are just mentors in agency space, but they don't have clients. They don't have clients. They just know roughly how it works. Whereas we're in the trenches right now. We're building our agency, and we've made so many different mistakes. We're not looking to take on loads of different mentees as such. Like, that's why we don't push it that much. So anyone that does want more information about it or comes on board, like, generally you're getting like real right now advice, not advice from years and years ago. So I think the package that we offer is that we'll spend a whole day with you, kind of crafting out like your offer, your sales, etc. And then we'll spend an hour a week for the next 8 weeks just helping you with whatever you need to be. And we've got a whole team of people as well, like marketing managers, graphic designers, etc., that can jump on and help with things as well during those hours. So yeah, if you want more information, just drop us a message, or if you just want little bits of advice here and there, then just feel free to ask us. It's no problem at all.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much for that. It was an awesome session. I really appreciate you coming on and doing this and spending so much time with us. I actually think this is the longest one that we've done. So there is so much to unpack here, especially if anybody is just watching this back now on the Loom video that we've uploaded. So all of your details will be available in the description of the school classroom. So please definitely reach out to Sam and Luke if you want to learn anything more about agency. So guys, I'll give you the rest of the evening back. Thank you so much for doing it.
One last thing, shout out Omar T, by the way, coming in with man he is definitely engaged right now. So
he's here to learn. He's here every week.
He's here to learn, man. He's got
some
real in-depth questions. And Steph for giving us a clap. Thank you, Steph.